Hello, today we will continue to explore fixtures. In the previous lesson we begin to look at fixtures. A fixtures consist of two parts. The first part is the preparation of the environment for your test, and the second part is cleaning up after your test. We looked at a fixture that simulate connection and disconnection at database. Usually a fixture is used more than once. Imagine you are making some API call and you need to check a multitude of parameters. Doing it all in one test is incorrect. You can use a fixtures, thus you will save the number of requests. To correctly indicate how often your environment in the fixtures will be restarted, there is a parameter called scope. By default, it will be equal to function. That is, for each test it will open and close anew. We specified this to be obvious. Sometimes we needed to work for each test, and in some cases when the fixtures takes a certain time and there is a possibility not to update it, you can use a larger scope, regardless of whether your test will be passed or failed. The fixtures will work anyway, both the setup and teardown part. For a better understanding, let's draw how it works, and then we will do it in tests. So, the highest level scope is session. If we have such a scope, then our fixtures will start when we start the tests and end when all tests are passed, regardless of whether you run one test or several directions of tests. The next level of scope is package. This scope will be executed for each package, folder, directory. That is, if you have one folder, there will be one fixture start. If two, then two starts. One start per folder. We will further implement it for the folder lesson 5. The next scope is module. It will be launched separately for each file. As you see, we move from larger to smaller scope. We will have two files, TestA and TestB. The next scope is class, which accordingly will be executed for each class. We will have 4 classes, 2 in each file. And the last scope we started with will be function. It will be executed for each test. To make a certain scope work in the fixture, it needs to be clearly indicated. As we did at the beginning, let's write 5 fixtures for each scope and indicate with prints what this scope is. We will have this arrow pointing to setup, this one to teardown. Moving on to the increase. The next, as you remember from the drawing, is the class fixtures. Then comes module. Now package. And the last fixture of the session scope. Since we will only run the folder lesson 5, accordingly our package and session fixtures will run the same number of time, that is once. Let's create 2 files, TestA and TestB. Now let's create our classes in which we will write our test. Note that I add all our 5 fixtures to each test. If there are fixtures is not added, it will not start unless you specify after run, but more on that later. Also, this is necessary so that we could access the fixtures value, while they are just for learning and only simulated work in the future. I plan to make a test project from the beginning to deployment, so subscribe not to miss out. Let's copy edit and do everything as it was in our drawing. Now let's run all our tests and see the number of our fixture starts. Let's add the S flag to output our prints. We encountered an error. Not to drag out the lesson, just move our conf test file to the folder with the tests. Now everything works. As you see, session and package have ones each. Remember, we wrote 2 outputs, so we need to divide by 2 because we have setup and teardown. Module has 2 starts. Class has 4 starts. And function has 8 starts, so this number indicates how many times each of the fixtures was launched. I would advise you to watch the part of the video with the drawing again, and even better the previous video, that is lesson 5 on automation. That concludes our lesson. Thank you for watching, the code will be in the video description. If you found it useless, give it a like and write comments. Have a great day.